Hello, esteemed guests. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining the panel today. It's going to be an interesting one. So can GenAI be a catalyst for the fourth wave of entrepreneurship globally? We're very, very lucky to have some esteemed guests in Daniil and David Liberman, former director of product science at Snap, futurists, and they have started an array of companies which you just went through in the green room. Liberman's Co., product science, Humanism, Sibilant Interactive, Concept Space, Kernel AR, Reality Ventures, Brothers Ventures, Frank Money. So it's certainly a strong way. Privyet, Kardila. In terms of this wave of entrepreneurship that we're going to see in regards to generative AI, what does that look like? Do we feel that it's going to be established entities like OpenAI that are going to be pushing through, or are we looking for more newer companies to kind of come through and create things that we've never seen before?
We see that in this particular space, the role of individuals which have the ability to create such technologies, which have the ability to innovate in architecture of such systems, will be much larger than what we've seen in the previous waves of the innovation.
Maybe last time we saw the same was semiconductors.
Yes.
But it was actually the beginning of the era of computers.
Conductors in terms of
like
hardware.
Creating hardware, like
Right.
creating computers themselves.
Right.
Which was like ages ago now.
Yeah.
Seemed to be ages ago, and now we are again in the same era when mathematics and deep knowledge on algorithms will be a requirement for an innovation and breakthrough in the field of AI, I mean.
Gotcha. So you think it's going to be a mixture of both overall?
It would be a mixture of both. Definitely you need a talent which can innovate, and the innovation most likely won't happen in the big corporations. We've seen this a lot. We built several companies, but we've also been part of the big corporation, and we understand that this type of innovation will likely to happen outside of big organizations. But we also see that development of such systems require a lot of capital. You need to have GPUs to train the systems. So big players will play a huge role here as well. But most likely it will be in collaboration. Like OpenAI is a relatively small company, and they are in collaboration with Microsoft, which provides all the GPU power initially. And so we see that collaboration between those two would be crucial in this process.
Do we feel that that system will ever level out? Do we feel that, we have OpenAI as obviously partnered with Microsoft. There's, new companies going to keep coming in and flooding the market. Are we just going to see a constant system of these large companies just buying, these small companies as soon as they get something that is intuitive and different?
Definitely, they will try to buy, but also what we see that the talent which can produce such technology will already, it's already is, but will have much greater access to capital as well, independent capital outside of big corporations. So we've seen it with Anthropic when just several people who left OpenAI immediately got billions of dollars of funding. So we do believe that big corporations will have to fight for such talent as well.
Right.
So that this...
and it's all going to be about freedom and values.
Yeah.
Like the mixture of like what values the people themselves want to bring into their products. And we see this with Anthropic as well. And further on, it's going to be even more crucial, probably.
Right. There's going to be so many, individuals that are coming from these larger entities that are obviously going to be, pushing out to start up entities, on their own. Is that something that we can expect to see much more in droves? And is it even relevant to what they're starting? Does it matter? Or are we just going to see VCs pumping money, into these individuals simply based on their track record and maybe not based off of their product?
I think that most of the capital will be definitely directed towards individuals. rather than to product, because no one knows what kind of products will work. And we saw significant innovations through the last year of the new products, which got to 100 million of users just in 1 month. And more of it is coming. And what we've seen with the OpenAI, for example, at the same time, they had a competitor, the biggest competitor at that moment they had was DeepMind. And everyone assumes that DeepMind, which has all the resources of Google, will win the competition. Will be the winner. But it was the case. And OpenAI, which was based on the values, which they were able to attract talent which preferred to be in an independent company rather than in a big corporation. And this talent allows them to be aggressive in terms of kind of ideas and technologies which they would develop. And they definitely were able to deliver the product to the market much faster.
And in terms of the ecosystem overall, how big of an importance is that going to be in regards to academia, funding, government, in regards to shaping this fourth wave of entrepreneurship? How important is that, is this whole ecosystem to make sure that it can kind of push forward and get to the levels we want it to get to?
So we can see this as, for many years already, the big corporations was hiring scientists to be scientists. It's basically paying scientists a regular Google engineer salary to just sit in the room and write articles and then publish those articles. This was sort of a proposition from the Googles and Microsofts of the world, that you can do science, but within the rooms of the corporation. But it doesn't necessarily have to be done through the corporation. The fact that Google was the first one, more or less first one to offer such a solution, then everyone followed, doesn't mean that that the Google was the necessary environment for this to happen. So other sources of capital and other sources of building the environment and building the opportunity for the scientists to develop these technologies, to spend years on a simple mathematical formula, which can then lead us to the transformers and new innovation in the speed of calculating models for machine learning. I would say that we will see lots of innovation in how capital can be invested in the area. Not only through the prism of investing in a particular startup or a particular company, but through the prism of investing in individuals and in sector of scientists. Basically financing science from the perspective that those people can build products and can build companies in the future throughout the course of like 10 to 30 years.
Do we need to revamp our education system? Is it something that we now look at generative AI and we're decrying students for utilizing it to write essays and these types of things? Do we need to look at our education system and think, how can we actually get generative AI into it so that we can create more entrepreneurs, as it's going to be such a big part of our society?
I'd say that the better question is not do we need, but can we not? We have to.
Education system develop really slow. Curriculum usually would stay there for decades, and we see quite not a lot of cases when students at the universities will be able to get the type of knowledge which will be up to date. So definitely we need to speed up this process. And we see a lot of startups and companies right now in the field to actually use generative AI itself
for the education process.
For education, to actually make it more personal and to give access to a bigger pool of the information for the students.
So ultimately, it can help entrepreneurs in regards to the base foundation value of learning how to utilize generative AI in their businesses and their startups and concepts.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
okay.
So we think that the AI today can help build a personalized path for anyone pretty much to understand AI. Like you don't have to be like a super genius in mathematics to understand AI, and AI will help you to understand it in a personalized way.
Right, right. And in terms of the opportunity for government, I mean, there's so many infrastructures that are now being built to allow AI to flourish. Obviously, regulatory environments are being brought in to give it some element of a system. What is the opportunity for governments? Obviously, we're very lucky, in the UAE that we are in Dubai, that our environment is built to, foster these collaboration and foster this growth. Is there an opportunity for other developing markets, developed markets also, to create this infrastructure in order to grow, a stronger ecosystem? And what does that opportunity look like from your experience?
The opportunity is definitely there. These type of technologies will create a significant wealth for the population. It's probably the real path for abundance. In general term, and we all expect the governments that actually their primary role is to actually bring abundance to people. So opportunities there, but also there are a lot of challenges because if you are not able to attract the talents which are able to create such systems, you can actually lose from this process.
And it's not even about attracting talent. Talent is always there. I mean. Right. Schools and universities are everywhere, except that there are pools, hubs, like Silicon Valley, which sucks out those type of talent from everywhere in the world.
Why? How do they get to that? How do they get that one up on other places?
They're just the first one to pay. They were the first one to start paying to this talent and just paying a lot.
And they're ready to support talent on the really early stages.
Right.
Everyone tries to be innovative, but to be innovative, you need to be risky as well. So you cannot be conservative. You cannot wait while others already invested in the field. You have to be quite early in supporting the talent. The kind of angel investors when nothing is there, nothing is developed yet, but you're ready to put your capital and risk together with individuals. Okay,
obviously you guys are serious startup founders, which I, exasperated at the beginning of this talk. What are the things that you would like to see as startup founders, present, past, etc., which would get you excited about going into a new environment or a new country?
So first of all, what, for example, for us was important in California. California have a legislation system which supports the talent. For example, non-compete agreements are not enforceable in California. That's why the only way for companies to actually retain the talent is to pay significant price. Right. That's why, for example, M&As are so developed in Silicon Valley. That's why your probability when you build companies, the probability that you will have some sort of an exit is much higher than in any other region, because this ecosystem works the way so that Google have to acquire this type of talents through the acquisition of their companies to actually have an ability to retain it. And when we visit different regions and when we are consulted by government officials, like what to do, this is one of the first things we show, that actually you need to think about the regulation not only in terms of protecting the investor side, but also through the prism of protecting the talents and being on the side of the talents. And if you're on the side of the talent, you will eventually prevail, and then investors will also participate.
And if you want to add to that?
What it led to is, like, in California, for example, if you're an engineer working on a search engine at Google, you can actually work and develop your own search engine at night at home, and it's going to be, and Google won't be able to intervene and, like, to say you cannot do that. And that's how it actually leads to multiple branches of development in different in every possible area, competing, like talent is competing with the corporations at the scale which is sort of invisible anywhere else, because talent understand that the corporation cannot force it not to do what they want.
And in this ecosystem, what moving to Silicon Valley and funding, what should VCs be looking for? Obviously, you're pumping money into different kind of elements, but what should VCs be looking for amongst this whirlwind of generative AI? There's companies that are coming out, saying that they can do, this, that, and the third. What is it that you would pinpoint as something from a generative AI standpoint that people should be focusing on?
Yeah, so we actually see a great opportunity right now that VCs right now should be educated. Like for the last 10 years, a lot of VCs emerged from financial backgrounds. They were able to attract capital, and most of the startups which we see in being successful, they were in marketplaces like Ubers of the world, Airbnbs of the world. You don't need to evaluate the technical capabilities of the team when you invest in such projects.
And when you even evaluate the technical capabilities, you are thinking about like whether they will be able to build an app and a fast-working server environment and stuff like this. Now with this new wave, it's all about mathematics, and it's all about like it is to some extent a deep tech.
So if you LP and you give money to VC who don't understand mathematics and who don't understand how this architecture of such system works, you most likely will lose money.
That's a steep learning curve. How is someone going to get to that? I mean, you guys are both mathematicians, at heart. How can someone get to a stage if they're a VC, and they're used to, having holidays, 8 times a year in Florida or something? How do they get to a stage where they understand these things?
You need to educate yourself, and you need to understand what is different, because most of the companies which right now raise money in AI field, they just wrapper, like API wrapper around,
second layer.
Around the ChatGPT API. But if you really want to get a share in this future, you need to invest in people who really understand how to innovate in such fields. So you need to be able to read articles, read scientific articles, scientific papers, to understand who is actually the one who can produce innovation and who can create new type of architectures.
If I were an LP, I would invest not in the traditional VCs, but in the solo VCs who are themselves experts in the area, for them to go and find those who they believe are even smarter than they are and invest in them.
Is there enough out there for them to learn from? Is there enough research papers? Is there enough out there that they can kind of draw from to become experts?
The venture market is not as big. You actually can invest billions of dollars and dozens of billions of dollars, and it still won't be enough to support all the talents which are capable to create such systems. But definitely you need to be able to recognize and differentiate them.
Right. And in regards to a topic we discussed at our dinner the other night, nefariousness, and the concept of chaos GPT, and a lot of these other elements that can potentially be utilized for criminal enterprise and things along these lines. Is there anything that we can do to mitigate that, or are we thinking that that's just going to be part of the overall scope of the growth of regulation?
Clearly, we will be able to do that. Except that it's definitely going to be something, a different game. I don't know if you've seen recently, there was this, I won't remember the name of the person who actually created this. It was an open source project where the new AI stack was built to take any Instagram picture, which publicly available, like you just open anyone's profile and take the picture, and you then feed this picture to the model, and the model will then browse through all publicly available video feeds from the streets all over the world and find where this picture was made. Find it by finding, like, let's say we have a picture of 2 people making a selfie at Times Square. there's lots of cameras on Times Square. You can publicly access them. And then the algorithm will find as these people actually browse through the street, as those two actually going. And then they stand, and then they make a selfie, and the algorithm is just like, here it is. That's where it was done. That's from what camera you can see this. So, and this sounds scary from some perspective, like a big brother watching all of us. But at the same time, look, some people might be afraid that the government will abuse such technologies to survey, but this can be done by one individual now today in today's world with the current technologies, just in a matter of a year to develop the technologies similar to what governments right now have. So this is going to be like a arm race, but arm race with smart kids.
Gotcha. So it's an inevitability that we have to figure out. It's an inevitability,
and we have to figure out how to basically set the norms, like societal norms, on how we deal with this new world of AI available to everyone. And it's not going to be the Googles and Microsoft who's going to be only one to be able to play this game. It's going to be just a kid which published it all open source on GitHub.
But if you support these individuals early on, you can kind of navigate, and you can support them through the prisms that they should think about safety. OpenAI or Anthropic, both of these companies, they were built with ideas that we need to create safe AI. So capital actually can play a significant role by supporting these individuals early and supporting them with the idea that this type of innovation should be built with safety in mind as well.
Understood. Okay. And there might be some entrepreneurs in the audience. Any parting words for them or advice?
Yes, I think that for both founders and investors, what we think that is important is remember this is all about individuals. Even though we talk a lot about artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence will be created by the human intelligence. And think about yourself as a founder, not within the project which you build, but through your entire career, what you are able to create through the next 20 years. That's what we did with ourselves. So a couple of years ago, we stopped accepting investment directly to our projects on the seed stage. We created a structure which represents everything which we'll create in the next 20 years, and invited investors to invest in this structure because we only wanted to have partners who are long-term with us, who won't be too focused on a particular project, who won't be too focused on a particular idea, but who will be with us in the next 20, 30 years. And it is really important for any founder, especially in this field, to think long-term.
And have freedom to just quit because the stuff are changing fast.
Because maybe you are working right now on the project, and then someone will innovate in this field, and there won't be opportunities anymore. So you need to actually act fast, and you need to change your decisions fast. And the same from the investor perspective. We stopped investing in the project. We start to invest in individuals long term, and
helping them form their own individual hold corporations, which holds their next 15 to 30 years, and then investing in this hold cost instead of investing in a particular project.
Because we see that through this prism, we are able to support people as well long-term and support with their ideas, which will require 10 years of research, how before that happened with the companies like OpenAI.
Understood. Ladies and gentlemen, Shokran, thank you so much. Please give a round of applause for our panelists in our own time. Thank you very much. Cheers.